Hey, Daniel. All right. All right. We've got 7 o'clock, and so we will call the March 16th regular board meeting to order at this time. And if you would, please stand to join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the media has been notified of the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Ney. Also, Nathan Holland, thank you for being here to provide security. We appreciate all of our resource officers, and thank you very much. And at this time, I will turn it over to number 3, Dr. Gocher, for our February Employees of the Month. Or February and March, or wait, February and March. Okay.
That's right. Since we had a virtual meeting last month, we've moved all these Employees of the Month to this month so they could be physically present. So, let me get back to the right agenda. All right, and we'll start with the junior high, and they are in the middle of their National Honor Society induction, so Ms. Terry Mitchell is not in attendance, but we want to honor Ms. Terry Mitchell as our Employee of the Month for the junior high. And now we'll move to Mr. Harpenall for our RHS Employee of the Month. Yeah, let's go ahead and honor her, if that's all right with you, sir.
RHS Teacher of the Month is Lindsay Hefner. Lindsay was nominated by one of her colleagues. Her colleague says that she continually goes above and beyond to help students that are struggling. He also says anytime he's had a conversation with her about a struggling student, he is floored by how well she knows her students and what she is already doing to modify to help them. Her tireless work effort is remarkable. She makes everyone feel welcomed, wanted, and comfortable in her class. She is so positive and sees the best in people. She has done a great job with the blended learning and has students logged in from home to learn about her subject matter. I always enjoy observing her class because of the welcoming environment that she has created for her students. Lindsay teaches environmental science at the high school and is in charge of our recycling. She loves what she does, and it shows in her teaching and how she interacts with her students. Lindsay gets to know her students and uses that relationship with them to make her classroom a great place to learn. Lindsay, we are glad you are part of the Cyclone family, and we look forward to working with you in the future. RHS Teacher of the Month, Lindsay Hefner.
Thank you, Mr. Harpenall. Moving on now to Dwight Elementary as we honor their Employee of the Month, Ms. Jennifer Fuller. Okay. All right, thank you. And next we move to London Elementary and Ms. Malin's Employee of the Month.
All right.
Stand aside me, it doesn't matter. So London's Employee of the Month is our counselor, Kathy Steffi. She's been at London 33 years, and I like to think of her as the matriarch of our Tiger family. She's the first person that our students see when they arrive, and she's one of the last ones that they see when they leave. She genuinely cares about our students. She, several years ago, created a morning check-in system where every student checks in on how they're feeling at the start of their day. And anything that's not happy, she makes a point to go specifically to that child and check in with them. And maybe the child wants to talk and maybe they don't, but they know that there's a caring face to check on them when they're unhappy to start the day. She also genuinely cares about our staff. Last year, 2 years ago, she created a special place in our building called the Nook. And that is a relaxing place that teachers can go if they just need a couple of minutes to shut the door, calming sounds, beautiful paint, rocking chair, and it's just a great place for our staff. So when I asked the staff, why did you nominate her for Student of the Month, this is what they said. She goes above and beyond to give our students the emotional support they deserve and need. She's thoughtful, always available to be a listener, hard worker, helping students and staff, gives counsel and comfort, always happy and smiling, dedicated, an encourager, and a resourceful. She is highly connected to the London community, and they are highly connected to her. And I think one person wrapped it up perfectly when they said she's truly an amazing person. So London Elementary's Staff Member of the Month, Kathy Steffi.
And while the photograph is being taken, we'll honor the several employees of Russellville Intermediate School. Ms. Kathy Cook.
Good evening. This month, RIS would like to recognize our English Language Arts team. I like to think of them as my A team because here are their names: Anna Adams King, April Michon, Ashley Moore, and Adrian Short. These ladies are a very close-knit group of people. They meet almost daily to collaborate and ensure that all of our students have access to quality learning opportunities. They are leaders in our school who serve as a resource to other educators among their teams, since reading and writing are essential skills that students have to have in all other areas of learning. The ELA team represents a wealth of knowledge and training. They are lifelong learners who are driven to continual professional growth. Last summer, Mrs. Moore and Ms. Short achieved Google certification, and they have provided technical support from their learning to many of our other teachers, as was much needed this year. Ms. Adams also gleaned new knowledge about blended learning last summer that served our school well as we planned this year's instruction. And Ms. Michon showed that she is a lifelong learner when she chose to change careers. After years as a school nurse, she chose to pursue her dream of teaching, and we're glad to have her on our staff. The work of our teams at RIS allows for seamless continuity of proven instructional strategies over time, and each team member contributes valuable ideas to the planning and creation of instruction. These team members have taken on roles within their group to share the workload. They volunteer and rotate the jobs to make sure that all the work is done. Their teamwork and commitment to teaching and learning is evident and appreciated. So congratulations to the RIS ELA team, our Employees of the Month for February-March.
Thank you, ladies. Next, Crawford Elementary, Ms. Siobhan Jackson is going to honor her Employee of the Month.
Good evening. I would like to honor our amazing cafeteria staff. Tonight we have a couple of them with us, Miss Jessica and Miss Margaretta. They do amazing work for our kiddos every single day, and sometimes we don't think about how important the job of the cafeteria staff is, but they truly are the difference in our day, because if our kids come in and they're hungry, our day is not successful with them. Because, you know, they get what we call hangry, and that just doesn't make for a good learning day. And they start our morning off by having food delivered to all of the classrooms quickly and efficiently before our teachers even arrive on campus. So they are sure to start our kids' days off right, on the right foot, and then they also make sure that our kids are well fed during our lunch day. They have to take into account all of the special needs that our kids have throughout the day and allergies, and they know them. They know them to a T, and if they think for a second that somebody got the wrong thing, they will run to a classroom, run to a table, and make sure that that is fixed. But one thing that stood out to me the most was their heart during this pandemic, because at Crawford, our student population that we serve is 91% free and reduced lunch. So for us, when we were, packing meals and getting meals out to families, it wasn't just to a handful of families. These ladies were packing close to 1,000 meals a week that were going out to our families, and that made a huge difference, not only for the students that we served, but the families, parents and other people in the homes that benefited from that food. And I saw them work tirelessly. They got there at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they worked so hard to make sure that our families were taken care of during that pandemic. When we switched and made some different changes this year and decided to send meals home on Friday, we may have thought that, well, only a few kids will opt into this, a few families will opt in. Well, again, at Crawford, the majority of our population needs those meals. And those ladies didn't frown or gripe or complain about having to do that extra work. They just jump in and they do it. And I just want to say that our success during this pandemic and during this difficult time is in large part due to everything that you guys have done to support our students, our staff, and our families. And we thank you so much for everything that you did. So thank you so much.
And next we have Ms. Sherry Shirley, honoring her student of the month. Excuse me. How about employee of the month? Always a student, right?
All right, I get to honor tonight Mr. Ben Level. Ben has been in Oakland for several years. He taught second grade, and last year I pushed him a little bit out of his comfort zone and said, let's try third grade. And I am so excited about what he is doing. Those of you who are elementary people will understand this. By the time our kids get to third grade, Project Lead the Way Science is a lot of hands-on manipulatives and big old projects. And honestly, with the chaos of last year and this year, I haven't felt like that a lot of that stuff has been something that teachers felt like tackling. When Ben came to third grade, he grabbed science and just ran with it. And I walked in a couple of weeks ago, and he took the whole afternoon and took every third grade class into the cafeteria, and they all became polar bears. And they learned about survival and about environmental changes. But in all that chaos of all those kids learning about what happens when there's less ice and less food and all of those things, I've watched them having the first genuine experiences of science that we had really been willing to tackle for the year in these upper grades. And so he's loving science in third grade. He's taking on a leadership role there, looking for PD to help further that. And I'm just very thankful that I have somebody who's so excited, genuinely excited about giving our kids these big project experiences so that when they listen to the news or when they get into higher science, they have these experiences to look back on and to remember concepts. His team is also extremely thankful for him because they don't like all those little manipulatives in those pieces, but Ben has pulled them along and encouraged them, and I walk in rooms now and science is a busy place to be in third grade. So, and he's also really humble, so he's sighing heavily up here because he wants me to finish. Anyway, I love having Ben in third grade. I appreciate his willingness to just step out there and take a leadership role. And so Ben is my February-March Staff Member of the Month from Oakland Heights. There you go.
And Ms. Monfey, if you can get ready for your Employee of the Month at Russellville Middle School.
So RMS Employee of the Month is Ms. Kim Bench, and she is in our self-contained room as an aide. She overwhelmingly had so many votes to recognize her, and here's what one of those nominations said. Kim works so hard with our self-contained students. It is apparent she loves working with them and has been called to be with our kids. She doesn't complain, has a great attitude, and an amazing work ethic. She has fought some physical obstacles this year to be back with her students and has never skipped a beat. Kim is such a blessing and an inspiration to our staff, and I'm happy to recognize her as our Russellville Middle School February Employee of the Month.
Thank you, Ms. Monfey. And next, Ms. Tammy Chandler of Center Valley Elementary, honoring her Employee of the Month.
Our Center Valley Employee of the Month is Ms. Karen Kordsmeyer. In addition to teaching classes and just instilling the love of reading, Ms. Kordsmeyer plays a lot of other roles at Center Valley. One is she runs our media club each morning, which produces our Center Valley news, including a green screen, teaching students how to use a green screen. Sometimes they wiggle a little bit. She posts all of our social media, so really telling our Center Valley story on social media, and I appreciate that. She helps with virtual presentations and performances, and she helps to organize special events. She likes to dress up a lot, and we have a lot of dress-up parades, right? But in addition to all of that, her colleagues have said these things about Karen, and that's really what I want to share tonight. They said that she is positive and kind. She's a wonderful resource, happily helps whenever asked, is dependable, goes the extra mile for students and teachers, is flexible, conscientious, creative, has an attention to detail, and is very helpful. So thank you, Karen, for making our library our hub of our school and such a welcoming, wonderful place. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Chandler. Mr. Edgin could not be here tonight, so we'll honor his employee at another time. So next, Ms. Barbara McShane, Sequoia Elementary.
And I tried to wear the highest heels I could tonight. This is Katie Pierce, 4th grade teacher at Sequoia. This is her 7th year as a teacher and 7th year with us. And I want to share with you that several staff members have nominated Katie throughout the year, and for a large variety of reasons. Katie's an amazing and dedicated teacher to her students. She's very learner-centered, to their families and to her colleagues. She's a leader with technology integration, has led building-level professional learning sessions which help many staff members navigate through the platforms of online teaching, as well as supported other teachers in the district with technology to prepare for blended learning. She went above and beyond with her students during this blended learning time. Her virtual students received the same engaging and meaningful instruction as their on-site students did because of her dedication to teaching and to her students. As a member of the Sequoia STEAM leadership team that worked toward last year's Cognia STEAM certification, Katie was instrumental in co-creating and co-designing our webpage, which was used to showcase our evidence toward the 11 indicators. She and a colleague spent countless hours learning to design that webpage, and it was extremely professional looking. That was one of the things that really stood out to the Cognia team. In the classroom, she is outstanding in leading literature discussion groups and facilitating student learning. Katie spent a great deal of time preparing her team for implementation with those new modules. Katie also takes initiative and is always researching to continue to grow as a professional. She is currently completing coursework to pursue a master's in educational leadership and will make a wonderful building leader one day. In addition, she began teaching online courses to students across the United States through OutSchool at the beginning of the pandemic. And Katie, are you still teaching classes 2 mornings a week before school? And it's amazing. Somebody mentioned work ethic. I've heard that a lot. She's hard to keep up with. In addition, she started her own freelance graphic design company, which is Pierce Graphic Design, so I just have to give a shout out for that. One of the things that makes Katie an amazing employee is that every time I say to her, "Hey Katie, I have an opportunity for you," she laughs, and she knows that it might be, "I have an opportunity for you to present at the State STEM Summit Conference, or to have an intern, or to mentor a new teacher to Sequoia, or to help me convert a file." Like, opportunities can be, at all levels. To be the PPC rep, she really is willing to do it all, but most importantly, she is focused on her students and supporting her colleagues at Sequoia, and so I am happy to honor her as the February Student of the Month.
Ms. Jones, if you could stand to my side, please. Do you want to get taller or shorter? Okay. Ms. Rachel Jones is the Central Office Employee of the Month, and I'd like to read from one of her colleagues who's not too far in front of me right now. I'd like to nominate Ms. Rachel Jones. She goes above and beyond her job description. She's very creative, easy to work with. She's done a great job with the RSD website, which was quite a challenge as one of her first responsibilities after being hired. The website has never looked so good. She's a great fit for the central office, the district, and our school board. We are very fortunate to have her. And Rachel, just from me, I just want to tell you thank you so much for the diligence, for your willingness to put the best of our students and the best of our teachers so quickly on the website. You've done a great job, and thanks for being the best communications coordinator in the state of Arkansas. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you take our picture?
Okay, thank you. Dr. Gocher, I see no addendum items, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so we don't need a motion or second for that. Is there anyone here tonight wishing to address the board on an agenda item? Anyone? Okay, thank you. Mr. Hodge, they didn't have a meeting this past month, so he is not here. So next, that brings us to information. Real quick, as most of you know, last month, our district lost a legend. He's in the Hall of Fame. He was our junior high head football coach, and we lost him to cancer. And he is going to be deeply and sorely missed by our school, by our patrons, by our students, and by our community. And I met Coach Bill 5 years ago when he came here, and you really don't, when you see Coach Bill, you're like, wow, he's so humble. You never knew that he was in the Hall of Fame here. Arguably probably the best quarterback to ever come through RHS. Played for Texas A&M, coach of the 12th man. When they first started that at A&M, he was so humble. It was always about others and not about Coach Bill. But I've asked, Jason, if other board members want to share. But to Miss Donna and the Bill family, I want y'all to know that we miss Coach Bill, and he left a lasting legacy and mark in our community and in our district, and he will be sorely missed. So, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I told Chris I had a real quick story about Coach Bill. So both of my kids, Finley and Logan, played both years, 8th and 9th grade for him. So we got to be pretty close. And as most of you know, my wife, she does not know how to say no. So we get stuck doing a lot of fun, awesome things after the game and before the game and during the game and everything else. So one of the roles she got me into during those 3 or 4 years with my boys was we had to meet the pizza folks behind the bleachers wherever we were out of town to get whatever 100 pizzas for all these big kids when they get them off the field. So every game we were out of town, I had my back of my truck full of pizzas, and the coaches would come over. They would divide up the kids by 2 and grab a pizza, grab a partner, go sit down. And we had just got finished playing, I think, Conway. And you guys all know, as far as the coaches in this room, you're going to understand this. And it's funny, and I'm not good at telling funny stories because that's just not my personality. But if you know Coach Bill and can hear him say this, but we're leaning over my truck one night after we just lost a pretty close game to our lovely rival down the road. And it was just me and him, and all the kids were out eating. And he looked at me and he said, Golden, I've got too many ERWs. And in my mind, I'm sitting there going, okay, middle linebacker, wide receiver, WR. I'm trying to figure out the acronym. And I said, Coach, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he said, eat, ride, watch. and so I will remember that forever. And I said, Coach, I'm going to plagiarize that. I will use that again, I can promise you. But that's just how he was. He would, if anybody else was around the truck, he wouldn't have said it. But since it was just me there and he didn't want to offend anybody, I got too many ERWs on this team. So I thought it was pretty funny. But he was a good guy, and he's going to be dearly missed. And my wife kind of went through the same thing that he went through with MD Anderson. And so Donna and Duranda share a special bond, and it's a bad deal. He was a good guy. So thank you.
All right, anybody else want to add anything? Right to Coach Bill. You will be missed, but if we could right now observe a moment of silence for Coach Bill and the family. Amen. Thank you. All right, Dr. Gocher.
Thank you, Mr. Cloud. For my March 16th Superintendent's Report, I always want to start off with our enrollment. Currently, our enrollment's at 5,161 students. That's down a little bit from the last month. We also want to report our Option B students, as well as those that are attending the Cyclone Virtual Academy. At the junior high, we have 78 students that are currently in Option B and 308 students that are in Option B at the Russellville High School. And as I said, 200 students at Russellville Cyclone Virtual Academy, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit. Currently, we have 59 students and staff in quarantine and 7 active positive cases between staff and students. Folks, I was out of town on Friday and did not get a chance to do my COVID-19 report, and I regret that I did not, because on Friday we had 0 students positive in our district. So folks, while the numbers may go up and down a little bit, they're certainly trending in the right direction, and I just continue to thank our wonderful nursing staff, as well as our administrators and teachers and students for being so patient during this process. But I wanted to provide those numbers for you. Next, I want to honor one of Russellville High School seniors, and since he's not here, I wanted to honor his father. And, whoops, let me turn it back. Cyclone Finley Golden has been accepted into the U.S. Naval Academy. And Mr. Golden, we just want to honor your son next month. I've got a letter that I'm going to compose and invite him to the next board meeting. We realize there's a game that night, and but if not, you've also sent some videos. The other day at practice, when the game was canceled, Congressman Steve Womack presented this congratulatory acceptance to Finley. So Jason and Duranda, we are proud of you, and we are excited to honor Finley at our next board meeting. So congratulations. Can we give a round of applause to Finley and the Goldens? And lastly, on my superintendent's report,
Dr. Gosher, another big
did I
thing
miss up? Go ahead.
about Finley.
Yes.
That's a huge, huge honor. But another thing is that's another young man that's chosen to serve our great country.
Agreed.
And so
Hey, thank you.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'm not going to ramble, but that's all Finley. That has nothing to do with me and Duranda and I. It has nothing to do with us. He chose, a long time ago. He just got up one day and said, "Dad, I want to go Naval Academy." And if y'all know Finley, that's all he did. So I'm not taking, Duranda and I are not going to take a lick of credit on that. That's all Finley. So.
Yeah.
Do what?
He said you shouldn't.
Yeah,
No.
I agree with Jeremy. You should.
That's not me. I'm grown.
All right, sorry to butt in, but yeah,
No,
that's congratulations to Finley. Fine young man, comes from a fine family, and we're thankful for him. What's that, Morgan? Well, I know this. Last year I did a tour, and they have over 17,000 applicants a year, and they accept 1,700. So he's in the best of the best, and that's a high honor, and it's very impressive.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we want to bring Mr. Brian Swim, the principal of the Russellville Cyclone Virtual Academy. I am sporting my Russellville Cyclone Virtual Academy face covering tonight.
Thank you for that.
You are so welcome. Folks, what Mr. Swim is, reason I've invited him, several districts across our state have the opportunity to apply for what's called a digital learning waiver. It's an application that will be submitted to the Department of Education, and it requires board approval and by May 1, and this will open the door for us to continue when all of the governor's mandates and the waivers across the state, waivers that have been afforded to the districts, this will allow us to continue the success that we have seen in Cyclone Virtual Academy. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Swim to allow him to share, and he has some things that that he's already brought to the board members tonight. So Mr. Swim, thank you so much, and thank you for the great job that you're doing, and it's wonderful to have your staff here tonight. Can we give a round of applause for the Cyclone Virtual Academy staff? All yours, sir.
Appreciate you guys coming and being here with us. The waiver itself is over 20 pages, I think, long. So, we gave you guys that ahead of time, so you wouldn't want to have to go through all that tonight. And the handbook and all the things that went along with it. We had to do some surveys of parents and different things like that. So all that is in there. I kind of figured tonight I would just take some Q&A, and one of my staff members helped me put together this little flyer that we can use to hand out to parents or anyone who's interested, and of course put on our website and all that. So it kind of has our talking points, so to speak. So I thought either I would kind of go over that, or if you already had questions just from the waiver that you've gone through or the handbook or anything like that, we could go to y'all's questions. I mean, I want it to be whatever you guys want to talk about in relation to the Virtual Academy. It's been an awesome experience for me this year. I've loved every minute of it. I've loved working with the staff I have back there. They're amazing, and I appreciate you guys putting that together and allowing us to have the staff we needed to really make it legitimate. I think that's kind of the thing about the waiver is they want to make sure, continuing, that schools put together a legitimate program, and it's not just kind of throw it together because we know we need something so kids can stay home. And what we've put together at Russellville is a legitimate program that I think I would put up against anybody. And so I appreciate you guys being willing to put the staff and the money to it to make it do what it needs to do. We will easily make it through the waiver process because of what we have in place. So I guess I'll start. Do you have any specific questions necessarily that you want me to answer about the virtual academy, or ask the teachers or anybody? Yeah, one of the things we've learned, one of the biggest indicators of engagement and students doing well is if they come to the Google meetings. We learned that fairly quickly and talked to different schools around the state, same exact thing. Google meetings are huge, very important. Virtual meetings, whether you use Zoom or Google, that is a huge component. Without that, you lose a lot of engagement, and students, they just don't perform as well. So we have found that that is a big indicator. And funny stories we have about those, you know, getting started and trying to do virtual meetings and, you know, all the little quirky things, you know, kids being able to start the meetings themselves and then we can't take control of them, to, you know, kids staying after the meetings and then doing goofy stuff they shouldn't do, and a parent emails us and says, hey, you know, this happened, and we're like, we didn't even know they could do that. I mean, you know, there's been a lot of cool things we've learned throughout the process, and a lot of the technology has even advanced very quickly. Even Google has added features very quickly to kind of fix some of these issues. Trying to get them involved in stuff, I think, is the biggest thing. If they're just at home and we don't have Google meetings, we don't have ways to try to connect them to things, that those students seem to struggle the most. Without parental involvement, that's a huge piece. And we put a lot in our new handbook for next year about the parental involvement. Even things to just help the parents understand, you know, if you don't do these things, like on our flyer, you know, we've got a parent expectation part at the bottom. If a parent's not willing to do those things, we can almost tell you they're probably students not going to be successful in the program. Because it's just, especially at the younger ages. The older ages, you know, they'll take on a little more responsibility and do more by themselves. But at those younger ages, it's hard without having somebody there. I mean, that's where that teacher component comes in, right? You're there with the teacher every day, and they're pushing you and encouraging you and all that. Well, if you're at home and you don't have that, then it's tough for a 10-year-old to just say, hey, I'm going to go get on the computer and do my work for the next 4 hours, you know? So there has to be a person there connecting to keep the kids motivated and keep them going. So sorry.
If you don't have that participation, what's your process?
So we start with an email. Email goes to parent. If we don't get a response, we usually go to a text, then a phone. We've got a form that the teachers fill out. We go to a text, no response, phone call, no response, letter. You know, and the letter usually comes from me. Or I'll try to call as well and try to set up a conference. So that's kind of the way we start. If we still can't get anyone to respond, we send Jeff Holt, and he goes and gives them the letter and says, hey, they've been trying to get a hold of you. And he's been extremely helpful, and I think Mr. Hobby has as well. But if we can't, you know, we have some things in place to where every 4.5 weeks, which is every progress report time, we check grades. And if they don't meet the criteria, and it's a little different depending on the grade bands, then we give them a letter and call them and say, look, you know, you need to go back to school because this environment is not being successful for you. You know, we've tried to reach out to you and get you to Google Meet with us. We've sent you letters, we've emailed, we've called, and we're not getting engagement. And so your student's struggling in this environment, and therefore we believe you need to be face-to-face with the teachers and staff. So that's kind of, once it gets to that 4.5 week mark, we've done all those things and we still can't get that engagement, then they either go back or, you know, they could choose to homeschool if they didn't want to go back, but most of them go back.
So at least how many contacts?
We start with email, text, phone call, letter. So it goes 4 before I usually get involved. My office, like Sydney, will help send out the letters, And so we've made 4 contacts, and then I get involved for the 5th.
All right. Now, what did you start with in November again, or October? Was that October?
Oh, well, when we started the year in August, actually, with 60. And then it was October when we added the 9 teachers, and we had 300.
Okay. And so the 100 that are not involved now, is that basis on lack of engagement? Is that a fair statement?
Only partially.
Okay.
Partially it is. The students that we have sent back due to lack of engagement, that is part of it. The other part of it is, as the COVID numbers go down, parents send the kids back. You know, a lot of parents have kept their students home because they're just worried about, you know, being in large groups. And so as numbers trend down, we start seeing them want to go back. And so more and more have gone back due to that as well. So it's parent choice, and it's been us encouraging them into a more engaging environment for them.
So part of the waiver, going through that, will the parents and the student be required to sign a contract for the?
Yes, sir.
And so we can hold them to that, because that's something we don't currently have right now, right?
We do. It's a little scaled down compared to will be in place starting next year. I think what I gave you guys in the handbook is about a 5-page document that explains everything that they'll sign. Right now we have a 1-page document, and we put that in place after the first semester because we realized we had to have something that was more concrete, gave them more of this is what's expected. And so after the first semester, we did put together kind of a short contract. But yeah, this next year, it's about a 5-page handbook. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those next year will be the ones requesting a waiver. Well, we'll request the waiver to have a digital learning Russell Cyclone Academy. And then those people will then join the academy but sign that contract.
That's correct.
To be a part of the academy.
We've started an application process already. On March 10th, we opened up the application process, and we told them this time it's not just everybody gets to be in. This time it's you have to meet the requirements and hold those requirements in order to stay in the program. And so far we've had 31 students who've signed up in 6 days, I guess. So we'll keep that closes March 31st. So hopefully we'll kind of have a good number for what we'll be looking like for staffing and all that for next year. And then I'll go through the applications, and I'll start calling and congratulating the students that get in and all that kind of stuff.
So if they don't qualify, will you give them before May 1? What's your target there?
Say that again.
If they don't qualify for the Russell Cyclone Academy, what's your game plan there? Well before May 1st, I guess, right?
Yes, sir. I think I have April 9th as the March 31st is the cutoff. I sent Dr. Gocher a timeline. I think, he's got it right there. Is it April 9th we have as the
enrollment approval process? April 7th.
Okay. And then I'll announce to him, I think, April 9th to let them know. And I'll talk to him and tell them, look, here's what you need to do if you want to be in, next year or the next semester. They'll have to do a semester commitment. And so, if students wanted to come in the next semester, they're at school, they get their grades up like they need to and all that, then they would be able to enroll the next semester. So, but they would have to go a semester, at school to prove, they can get themselves up to where they need to be in order to be virtual. Because it's different. I mean, it's more responsibility on the kids. They have to be more self-motivated. There's just a lot involved there that if they can prove it at the school, then typically they'll be okay there. If they can't, though, odds are they're not going to be okay virtually. At least that's kind of what we've seen over the last year. You guys have kind of hit a lot of the stuff, which is good. A lot of people have asked, technology, we're going to take care of the technology. They're going to have a Chromebook or a laptop. They're going to have any of the other things they would need. If they need a mouse, they're going to have it. If they need Wi-Fi, they can apply, and we can get them a Wi-Fi hotspot. So they're going to be taken care of with all the resources they need. We provide all that. We print things for students who need it. So there's no lack of resource. Google Meets happen every day. The teachers are on Google Meets every day with students, whether it's the instruction for the regular lessons to intervention for students who are behind, to small group instruction for things that are needed for RTI or ESL, GT, things like that. let's see here. K through 8, we offer all the same courses that they get at school. 9 through 12 is a little different. We do have a course catalog that shows all the courses we can offer. We also still partner with Virtual Arkansas, so for courses we can't offer, they can still receive them through Virtual Arkansas virtually. And so we've got that. So there's a pretty good course catalog from 9 through 12. Let's see, we've covered most of that. They still can participate in extracurricular activities. So, they can do all the athletics, they can do band, they can do all that kind of stuff, cheerleading, anything they want to do there.
How many surveys have you gotten back?
We have 66 out of the students we had enrolled, so that was just our parents. And then we have had, as of today, I think it was 88 from just anyone in the district. Because we put out one survey just to our parents, and it was a little bit different, kind of asking specific questions. And then we put one out to the whole district that was a little more general about virtual learning. And we've had 88 from that and 66 from the other one.
What did you learn from those surveys? Anything?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've learned things that parents liked, things they didn't like, some really good insights into, one of the questions we ask is, what do you think makes a good virtual program? What do you think makes an effective virtual program? And I think parents gave us some excellent responses as to some things, even from them saying parental involvement, to communication, to connection with the teacher. We've learned a lot, and we've gone over with my staff. I think it was last Friday in our staff meeting. We went over a lot of the results, just kind of say, guys, here's some things we need to work on, and here's some things. Congratulations, you guys are doing an amazing job on. Some of the parents called out teachers by name and said these teachers are amazing. Some of the best we've ever had. They're constantly communicating with me. That's kind of one of the things that we have really championed at the Virtual Academy is communication. I mean, that's the core of everything. We've got to communicate a lot and well, with our parents and our kids, and that I think has made the difference. We've just the other day I had a homeschool mom call me and say, I've had three kids homeschool their whole life. We're thinking about joining Cyclone Virtual Academy. I'm hearing good things and all that. So I talked to her for probably 30 minutes, and I think they're going to join. And so we've had a few people come from other schools already wanting to join. So I think as we do it right, people will come that are looking for a good program that can do that from around our area, from in Russellville, so.
Could you introduce who you have with you tonight?
Absolutely, I will. Yeah. Okay. I have Janine Humphrey, K2 teacher. Sheila Gamero, English 712. Ivan Traylor, Social Studies 712. Lynette Ditto, our 3-5 English and Social Studies. Brittany no, but honestly though, she has been awesome in working with us. So, and all of the support services have. Judy, Danielle, Ms. Sumter, everybody, Carrie, they've all been great, and the principals as well. Sydney Shin, my secretary/tech person. Alicia Brown, and she is our 3-5 math and ESL. And I think I got everybody. There's a few that couldn't make it tonight. We actually have 9, so a couple of them just weren't able to make it, and they apologized. So.
And I'm sorry, so what will the curriculum be?
As we started out with the Lincoln Learning content in the Buzz learning management system. So Buzz is the digital program that houses it, and then Lincoln Learning was the content where all the courses were built on. So what we've been doing throughout this year, or I say we, it's been the teachers, have been modifying that because it fits the same base of standard. It fits the Common Core standard, which is what Arkansas is built on also. And so they've been modifying it this year. It's very easy to modify. So they've been adding things in that they felt like fit the Russellville curriculum better, taking things out that didn't, and all that. So by the time we hit next year, and not only that, in the waiver, you probably saw this massive list of things where it says, what are you using for your curriculum? I mean, it just starts with Buzz, but you see all these other things that K2 is adding, anywhere from the Hegarty stuff to the things that are happening in the school. You see the 3-5, and there's a big list of things that they're adding and changing to make it more fit Russellville and fit us. And so, I mean, that's a process, but I think our teachers have really dove in and done a good job of already modifying that. So it started out as Lincoln Learning. It's really becoming Russellville Cyclone Virtual Academy curriculum that's way more connected to the Russellville curriculum than what it started out to be. So,
I have a question about, I think I saw on your handout, Virtual Arkansas. How does that play into the Cyclone Academy?
so we have Virtual Arkansas through the co-op, and they offer courses that a lot of schools cannot offer. I mean, things like German and French and just all kinds of stuff, a lot of AP courses and different things like that. The Virtual Academy just kind of gives us another piece to where, with a limited staff, we can only offer so many things because the state still expects our teachers to be certified in the areas they're teaching. And I only have 9, and we're covering K-12, so you can imagine, it can be difficult to cover some of these things. So Virtual Arkansas gives us that ability for the kids to stay virtual and take courses that we can't offer. And we have a mentor at the school. This year, the high school, thank you, Al, was very helpful and allowed their person to be the mentor to our kids as well. We only had 2 that took Virtual Arkansas classes, and Miss Flores was awesome to help with those because I really didn't know what I was doing. So she kind of taught me some things with that, and they helped us out. Next year, our teachers will become the mentors for those kids. And so not only they'll have the Virtual Arkansas teacher, but they'll also have the RCVA teacher to be connected to and be in touch with them weekly just to say, how are you doing in your Virtual Arkansas classes? How's that going? And all that. And I don't know how much y'all know about the Virtual Arkansas program, but it is Arkansas teachers who are certified in those courses in Arkansas.
So sorry to keep asking questions, but like the 31 that have signed up, that leaves 169. Do those, if we don't hear from them, what do we do? Do we just know that they'll roll over in person and they'll be Russellville in-person learners? Or
Yes,
do you
sir.
reach out to them? Okay.
Well, I'll probably reach out to a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, the ones that we know, they stay in such close contact with those parents. Typically, we kind of already know. Some of them just haven't filled it out for this or that reason. But we'll probably kind of already know by March 31st. If we don't, though, we'll kind of look at our list and go, I kind of would have thought they would have stayed, or maybe they're planning on going back, and we'll reach out to them to kind of get a feel for what all of them plan to do. Because, I'm like, I may have looked at that email and then forgot about it, and it's buried now, and I was going to do it, but I forgot. And so we'll definitely be doing some reaching out when we get closer to the end of that to see.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Probably the only thing I haven't hit on that I wanted to talk about, I guess, was just special services. Special services are still offered through the Virtual Academy. They still receive those. So any student who has SPED services, 504, all those GT, dyslexia, OTPT speech, all of these kind of things, they can still be a part of the Virtual Academy and get the services that they need.
And that's where Dr. Turner comes in, I guess, right? Awesome.
Absolutely, all of them. All the
Okay.
people kind of in the middle right here, that's where they come in. They've been extremely helpful for us.
All right.
There's no way we could have done this without the support of all the people here and over here. They've been extremely helpful to us. That's really all I got. If there's no, we've pretty much covered everything on here, and it's pretty much covered the big points of the waiver. There's a lot more language in there, but it's I think the state just wants to get the big feel of what's this going to look like. Is it going to be effective? And I think the answer is yes, for sure.
I would agree. Dr. Gocher, I have a question. I don't know if this is the right time for it. Sure. Is it okay? So, and Brian, maybe it's I don't know who answers it, but whatever. But so we displaced 4 or 5 elementary school teachers, and I don't know how many other secondary teachers to start the virtual academy. Has it been communicated, or is there a timeline on when the principals that are sitting in this room know that they need to post to replace that teacher, so we're not waiting until summer to kind of get the bottom, I hate to say it, bottom one, but the teachers that are still, you know what I'm saying?
You bet. No, that's a great question. We're according to the timeline, of course, when we have the application process completed, I've reached out to a couple of principals already to just see what their plans are. So according to Mr. Swim, the minimum staff that academy needs is around 7. Of course, we're hoping for a whole lot more than 30. Currently, we have 9. Am I correct? 9 staff members?
Right now we have 9.
Right now,
Yes,
9.
sir.
So yes, I've already, as I said, communicated with some of the staff members or some of the principals already that if this person chooses to stay, we will support you hiring this person back. So a lot of those decisions will be made after spring break. Okay. And, anyway, we'll know more as the applications come in. So yeah, I sent out a text to my principals to let them know that be patient with the hiring process. We're going to make sure, because now is the prime time to get good candidates. But a lot of these could go back to their home school. And so that was one of the things that we promised them if the numbers declined, that we would allow them to go back to their home school if they so chose to. So I hope that helps.
Absolutely.
Mr. Swim, any other follow-up on that question?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think we will shrink some. You know, we have a lot of people who stayed home because of COVID. And so as that's going away and numbers are going down, you know, we will have some decline. So we will be able to, you know, some will be released to go back. But I think, like you said, I think we've already, me and Dr. Gojo have kind of talked. I think we have a pretty good plan as to what the minimum we can run at and still have the license we have to have and all that good stuff.
Right.
And so.
Yeah, and just for the record, I've been stopped at a couple ball games, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I think you guys and your team's done a great job.
Thank you, thank you. They're an amazing staff. I mean, what they've done from October till now, it's just amazing. I'm thankful for all of them.
And Mr. Swim, you've heard me say this many times. What I envisioned of doing in 3 to 5 years, you and your team were able to do in 3 to 5 months. And so I commend you and the entire staff. Thank you for going at warp speed to make this happen. And now we have the potential for a quality, well, it already is quality, but an ongoing quality virtual academy. So thank you, team, very, very much. Is that it?
That's all I got.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swim. And folks, this did not get on my presentation because I found out later this afternoon, but I'd like to honor Dr. Danielle Stewart, who successfully defended her dissertation today.
Wow.
Would you stand so we can honor you, Dr. Stewart? Congratulations. Very, very, very happy for you, and congratulations, and we're all proud of you. Thank you. That concludes my report, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Congratulations. So we are at consent, and we will remove 7 from the agenda on the consent item. And do we have anything else to be discussed? Yeah, 7 is not pulled, it's just removed, Ms. Renee. So it won't be a part of our agenda. Is that right, Dr. Gojo?
That's right.
Okay.
He's here tonight.
Excuse me? Yes. So is there any other questions on consent? Okay, we've removed 7, so everything else will be considered as listed. And Coach Joe Satowski, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I want to honor Joe. Mr. Satowski, he's a great administrator, but he helped out this year with our 7th grade girls. And he asked that be pulled, but Coach just wanted that to know that he did it for the students. He didn't want the recognition. He didn't want anything. It was about the students and the players. And Coach did an amazing job with the 7th grade B team, and they made great gains. But Joe, we're blessed to have you in our district, and thank you very much for all the hard work you did. And he did that while being an administrator at the junior high. And does anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
I had a daughter over there, but Joe, I wish I could just say it was me that is complimenting you today, but I've heard girl after girl after girl after girl talk about the impact that you had on their lives this year, and a little emotional just because it wasn't. It was a new group of girls to basketball, but you did an amazing job, and I appreciate those people around you letting you join in. Ben Stiles, Hunter, I know they appreciated your help, so thanks again for all you did and what you do outside of just basketball, so thanks.
Thank you, Joe. Let's give Joe a hand. All right. Mr. Golden.
Okay, on the finance, I'd like to make a motion to approve period 8 financials as reported on by Mr. Robertson at the 6:30 Financial Committee meeting.
Okay, that's a motion by Mr. Golden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is that a second by Mr. Carter? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, we're unanimous. Ms. Wynn, number 10.
I recommend that we approve policy 5.27 and policy 5.28 as we discussed in our earlier meeting with Dr. Gocher. So.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wynn. We have a motion to approve 1 and 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Golden. Any discussion? All righty, all those in favor? Okay, we are unanimous. Okay, Mr. Carter.
I don't have anything extra to add to the building and grounds.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Any word to other? Is there anything we need to add there? Anybody? Okay, we are at personnel, and I need a motion and a second to enter executive session to discuss personnel. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Keister. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Carter. Okay, at this time, do you always, can we go to the room? Is that okay? We'll just exit. Y'all can stay in here, and we'll go to the room for executive session.